Hello, welcome to revision tips for CIPS Level 3, Advanced Certificate in Procurement and Supply Operations. This is Module 4, which is Team Dynamics and Change. And it's Learning Outcome 2, which is to understand team dynamics and their influences on procurement and supply. So we'll describe the purpose and challenges of cross-functional teams and explain the contribution and challenges of team working. So let's start by defining what a team actually is. A team is a group of individuals who work together to meet an objective. Teams do not naturally work together instantly, and Tuckman developed a model of team formation which has 4 main stages and a 5th one. The 4 main stages that teams go through is firstly the forming stage, which is when you start up, you meet the team members for the first time. The storming phase, where conflict can arise as team members get to know each other and assert their authority. The norming stage happens when things calm down and the team start working together effectively. And performing is when a team is working so well together to deliver the results, they just pull together and pull on each other's strengths. The adjourning is when a team disbands and they've fulfilled their purpose. And actually at this stage you can get a little bit of mourning as well, which is where people are sad that it's over. But a cross-functional team member can come from any different department within your organisation. So a cross-functional team can include members of different areas and even maybe external stakeholders such as suppliers and customers. But there are lots of desired benefits to come from a cross-functional team. Increased productivity, the team can generate ideas that benefit several departments. Improved quality, the team will make an informed decision and agree on the optimum solution that satisfies the needs of all areas. Innovation, team members bring different perspectives which enables innovation. The technological advancements is an opportunity to share knowledge across the business. Improved motivation, members of the cross-functional team build trust and skills and their ability, which all can be very motivating. Improved company efficiency, these ideas can be examined and applied to different areas. Improved relationships, which breaks down the barriers between departments, but also helps individuals to get a better understanding of the obstacles that are facing their colleagues in other departments. Improves the knowledge. Specialist knowledge and skill sets can be shared to educate members and teams for their self-development. A quicker achievement means that results are likely to happen quicker and with less resistance as teams are represented from lots of different areas. Improved communication. Trust and open communication should develop with opinions and ideas that are shared freely, and criticism should be constructive. But potential challenges can arise with a cross-functional team, and that's usually as a result of things like a clash of objectives with someone's day job, different leadership styles and cultures, a reluctance to actually accept the job, lack of time, or any internal conflict. Meredith Belbin identified 9 roles that people naturally fit into, depending on your personality and behaviour. So let's look at these roles. You've got a resource investigator, the outgoing, enthusiastic one. They can be over-optimistic. A team worker is cooperative and a good listener, but may be indecisive and avoids arguments. A coordinator is mature and confident, but can be seen as manipulative, offloading their work. A plant is creative and imaginative, but sometimes get preoccupied and ignores the little things. A monitor evaluator is strategic and level-headed, but lacks drive and can be overly critical. A specialist is a self-starter with expert knowledge, but might only contribute on a very narrow front and dwell on technicalities. A shaper is dynamic and works really well under pressure, They get things done, but could probably upset people in the process. An implementer is practical, turning ideas into action, but can be slow to respond and be inflexible. An implementer is practical and turns those ideas into actions, but a completed finisher is conscientious and finds errors, but worries and doesn't delegate. So just have a think about who you might be. These people are either thinking people, they're people or action people. Sometimes you wear more than one hat to fulfill many roles. But I think the important thing to note here is that a team needs a mixture of these people in order to be successful. But the most important person in all of this is the leader. You do need a strong leader. So effective leadership is essential to enable teams to achieve their results. And a good team leader will build his team, develop individuals, ensure that the team achieves their objectives. So here they need to be personable. This is their traits. Very balanced but competent in their job. Showing initiative, leading the way, being able to teach and guide. A good communicator who is confident and fair. Now, this leader needs to set the goals for the team, encourage them, and display excellent organisation skills. They need to be motivated and inspirational and work with their team members rather than just dictating to them. Now, Belbin also outlined there are two types of leaders. There are solo leaders and team leaders. Let's look at the differences between them. A solo leader is someone who thinks they know best. They try to mould the team members to be just like them, seeking admirers and people who will just agree with them, dictating directions to the team members and basically assigning a specific task to everybody, so no one really understands what they need to be doing. The team leader, on the other hand, is the sort of person that delegates to the team and engages with them, promoting diversity and letting individuals be themselves. They seek talent and engage with people's views, empowering their team members and promoting the objective, which will enable the team members to work together to achieve it. The style of leaderships are either directive, boss-centered, democratic, or laissez-faire, team-centered, which means it's Latin for let things take their own course of action. So up the boss-centered end of the diagram on the right-hand side, the authoritarian leadership style, these people tell you what to do, or they sell you the idea. They've basically made the decision and then try and persuade you. At the other end of the spectrum, you've got the subordinate leadership style. These are the sorts of people that are team-centered, but they delegate or abdicate. And by delegating, they just give responsibility to others to find solutions and just ask them to report back, or completely abdicate and not be involved in decision making. So the ones in the middle, the blue ones, these are the democratic approaches where you've got suggests, consults and joins. Suggesting will present an idea and invite feedback. Consulting would present a loose idea but then asks the team to get some feedback before acting. Or joining in, explaining the problem and giving them some boundaries in terms of budget and time, but get them to come back and propose actions. So just consider yourself, what leaders have you worked for in the past? What was the leader's focus on? What style of leadership did they use? And how did you respond to that particular style of leadership? Did it motivate you or did it make you feel resentful? Regardless of the approach, the focus of the leader should include the following on the left-hand side, the John Adair approach, which is all about achieving the task, developing the individual, and building the team. Now, trust is required in order for leadership to be sustainable. For a team to engage and respond to instructions, be empowered, or simply attend meetings, they must trust the leader. But how is trust formed? We can see on the screen Peter Schultz's trust matrix, which shows that people actually need to know that the leader cares about you, but also that the leader is competent. And when you have high recognition for both of these, trust can be formed. If you have neither of those things, there will be distrust. But you can have some examples of where you've got one and not the other. So, for example, when you've got a belief that the manager really cares, but perhaps doesn't really understand what they're doing, you have affection for these people. But conversely, when you know they're capable and competent, but they don't really come across like they care very much, then you just respect them for knowing what they're doing, but you don't necessarily like them. Now, if certain ground rules are communicated at an early stage of team working together, acceptable behaviour can be practiced from the outset. So ground rules should include things like arriving at meetings on time, being respectful of others by listening to them and not talking over them, giving issues your full attention, switching off your mobile phone or putting it on silent, maintaining confidentiality at all times, so what gets said in those four walls should stay within that team of people, and letting the leader know if you can't attend a meeting by calling them or emailing them in advance. Okay, so now we're going to look at how we overcome some barriers within meetings and the sorts of things you can do to become an active listener. So the first is to be attentive, making eye contact with the person that's talking to you. This will help you to absorb the information better. Ask open-ended questions, more than ones that would answer a yes or a no. More using probing questions, politely challenging what they've said so that you can clarify your understanding. If you're unclear or you want something to be explained differently, then do request clarification. Paraphrasing is a technique you can use to repeat information in short phrases. Try and be attuned to somebody's feelings. If they smile at you, smile back. And finally, summarise. Tell the speaker what you've learnt so they know you have grasped the concept. Clear communication is really important. Unclear communication around goals and responsibilities can be overcome by clearly explaining the reasons behind the team or the task and ensuring there is an opportunity to clarify those goals and responsibilities. It could be because of lack of planning or discipline, which can be overcome by communicating clear milestones that can be reviewed using tools like Gantt charts. This will help the team with planning and monitoring progress. You might have conflict and personality clashes within the team as well. It can be mitigated by identifying team personalities when putting together a team to make sure it's well balanced and effective. If conflicts do arise, they can be overcome by mediation, and resistance and unacceptable behaviour usually arise due to a lack of respect or an understanding or concern. So give the individuals time to ask questions they might have in order to address those concerns. So on the screen you can see the 7 C's of communication. Complete. So deliver all the necessary information that reduces the need to make assumptions. Be concise, avoiding irrelevant details. Be clear and concrete what you're saying, ensuring there's a clear message behind what you're saying. Be correct, ensuring that facts are right and used in the correct grammar, punctuation and style. Be courteous, polite and respectful. And also considerate. Think about who's receiving your message. So use words and concepts they will understand. Let's review some barriers to effective team working. It can come from poor leadership and communication, both of which we've focused on already. The qualities of the good ones will overcome these barriers. That links to the unclear goals, roles, and responsibilities. It could be due to a lack of planning, trust, or discipline, or allowing unacceptable behaviour to continue. Personality clashes can always happen, or some form of resistance or conflict in general. So talking about conflict, it's not uncommon and can be caused by many things if it's not dealt with quickly and effectively. Conflict can occur if the barriers to team working are not identified. And it's usually assumed to be negative, but it can actually have its advantages when you're trying to deal with things in a professional way. It encourages open-mindedness, pushes people to think differently and raise new questions, which will naturally stop stagnation. Power is used in unethical ways, and when that happens, it can cause conflict. Anyone within a team can exercise power. French and Raven identified 5 bases of power. You can see these on the screen. Someone can have legitimate power from their position or role that they play, such as a teacher or somebody in charge. You can have reward power, which is the ability to give rewards or verbal praise. Coercive power is the ability to punish, like giving somebody a detention. Expert power is having some sort of knowledge. And referent power is actually perceived as caring. So you don't actually have any legitimate power, but people know that you care and will listen to what you say. Now, the sixth power was added later on, which was informational. This is where people believe that knowledge is power. So they withhold information and believe that it should only be released on a needs-to-know basis. Extreme conflict reflecting incompatible goals can have significant impacts on the team's ability to focus on the task in hand. And Mullins identified some sources of conflict, which you can see on the screen. The first being perception, in that individuals can see things in different ways. Different perceptions can result in conflict. Departmentalization is where those departments focus on the needs and success of their own department at the expense of others. That's where you get sort of silo thinking, I think. Limited resources is when you have competition over tangible resources like licenses for software, or intangible resources like mentorship. Unclear objectives can lead to different team members having different views of what's required. Unfair treatment can cause resentment or provoke members to defend their co-workers. A violation of territory is where individuals may feel undervalued if a team member or cross-functional team is given a task that means they will need to work with or in that department. And the macro environment can happen through to loss of customers, a new computer system, or an economic downturn, which could cause conflict as individuals worry about what will happen and they try to protect their jobs. Now, conflict can be managed by clarifying objectives, making sure you've got enough budget and resources, procedures and processes are followed, but you can also identify non-monetary rewards, set up group activities to ensure the team remain coherent. Be a participative leader that is involved in the team, encouraging interaction and communication, and rotating the team where possible. Other methods for resolving conflict can be to manage, I think, by objectives. So the conflict resolution process will enable you to gather the facts from all the parties that are involved, evaluating what goes on and weighing up the facts. Consider how important the team member is to the project. I mean, if they're likely to create conflict, you might want to think about whether or not you can remove them from the team. So determine whether the goal could still be met if they were not there. Communicate with the members and then try to resolve the conflict through an apology, agreeing the next steps, or removing them from the team altogether. And that's the end of Learning Outcome 2. Thanks for watching.